What's up guys? Welcome back to Streetball Strategies. Over the last couple of months I've seen a meme going around that shows a double rim and a rim with no net, saying would you prefer to shoot on a rim that's a double rim or one that's regular but has no net on it. Fortunately, the majority of the responses I've seen to that have said that they would prefer the double rim. And I have some thoughts about double rim versus no net. So today I thought we would choose double rim or no net. When I see a double rim, I have a couple thoughts. One of the first ones being a kind of weird, irrational, abstract thought, which is like, I bet double rims are better to dunk on. You know, just because of the idea that double rims are thicker and probably more sturdier, and so that'd be better to dunk on. When I get it, I know that in reality, dunking probably has more to do with how well the rim is connected to the backboard and how well the backboard is connected to the stanchion and how well the stanchion is connected to the ground and how sturdy that all is when you put it together or whatever. I get it, I understand. I wouldn't have any personal knowledge because I've never dunked on a 10-foot high basketball rim myself, but that's always just a weird abstract thought I have whenever I see a double rim. So the first thing I think is, okay, double rim. That means that rim is more sturdy, it's more tight than a regular rim. It's kind of like the difference between bouncing the ball on grass or dirt and then bouncing it on blacktop. You know, blacktop is more sturdy, thus you get a better bounce of the ball, whereas if you bounce the ball on grass or dirt, it's not as sturdy as blacktop, so you don't get as much of a bounce. With a double rim, because it's sturdier, you get more of a bounce. So whenever you shoot the ball at a double rim, you have to be more accurate. You have to be more precise. Whatever kind of shot you're taking, whether it's a three-pointer, jumper, pull-up, whatever, runner, floater, layup, anything. All of that has to be more accurate. It all has to be more precise, because if it's off at all, on a regular rim, there's a chance that it still might fall in because you're shooting on a regular rim with regular give. On a double rim, it's more sturdy, there's less give, so there's going to be more bounce to the ball when it hits the rim, even on a layup. So it forces you to be more precise, it forces you to be more accurate. And my perspective on that is that I appreciate that. I like that. I like the challenge of having to be forced to be more accurate, to be more precise. I could have the perspective of a casual basketball player, which is most casual basketball players, when they see a double rim, they think that double rims make it more difficult to shoot. It provides them with having to have more rebounds, longer rebounds, meaning they're going to have to run more, they're going to have to chase the ball down more, and thus they have a learned prejudice against double rims. I could have that perspective, but I choose to have the perspective that I like the challenge. I like having to be more precise and more accurate. So my first thought is good, double rim. I have to be more precise, I have to be more accurate. I love using double rims for shooting practice, when I'm trying to be more accurate, when I'm trying to be more precise. I love having double rims for that purpose. When I'm working on accuracy, I love having double rims to practice on and drill on. My second thought goes to my opponents next. How is a double rim going to affect my opponents? Because it forces them to be more accurate, because it forces them to be more precise, I realize that super hardcore basketball players and enthusiasts like myself, we don't really have a thought when it comes to double rims. If we do, it's just about I appreciate having a double rim, but most of the time you see a double rim, you just go, okay, well, I'm a player, I'm a baller, I'm just gonna ball out regardless of what kind of rim I'm playing on anyway. That's hardcore basketball players. Novice basketball players don't have experience with double rims yet, and so they don't understand, they don't know that double rims are sturdier and harder to shoot on than regular rims, and so they also don't have any thoughts about double rims. It's those in-between casual players that have that learned prejudice against double rims. They have the experience of knowing that shooting on double rims is harder than it is on regular rims, and so they usually have some kind of learn prejudice against shooting on double rims. Thus, they have some kind of complaints about shooting on them. And because usually when you come out to the park, if you're a hardcore player like we are, maybe occasionally you'll get another hardcore player to play against, you know, just by happenstance. But most of the time you're gonna have casual weekend warrior kind of guys out here. And because of that, when I see a double rim, my first thought is kind of like, hey, you know, Dr. Evil kind of thought process going on.
Gentlemen, I have a plan.
Because when I see a double rim and I think of what the competition is going to react to having to play on a double rim, what I'm doing is just waiting. I'm waiting to hear some opponent say something negative, to have some kind of complaint about a double rim. Because as soon as I hear them complain about having to play and shoot on a double rim, I know I got them. Or at least I'm very secure and very confident in assuming that if they're complaining about having to shoot on a double rim, they have some kind of weakness. They have some kind of mental discipline weakness that I can then exploit and use against them. Something that I don't have. I don't have that weakness. I don't have that discipline issue. I welcome the challenge of shooting on a double rim, whereas they are dismayed by it, and it may or may not throw them off their game. And if they're bothered by having to play on a double rim, they have no idea what's about to happen to them if they have to deal with me on a double rim. So basically, I like double rims because they're good for me and they're bad for my opponents. Now let's briefly touch on the no net issue. So a basketball rim having a net on it is a luxury. You don't need a net in order to play, in order to shoot. But I would say that it is an important luxury to have. Because a net on a rim serves two important purposes, which is, number one, it's just an indicator of whether or not the ball actually goes through the rim or not and makes a basket. Especially in the style of today's game, which is like players shooting a lot of long distance threes. I would assume it's easy to sort of lose the ball under those kind of conditions and make the mistake of whether or not the ball actually goes through the hoop or not to make a basket. I'm sure it's been mistaken both ways of whether or not the ball's gone through or not. Maybe it's gone through and not been counted, or it's not gone through and then it's been counted. Either way, I'm sure that mistake is made a lot on basketball rims with no net. So having a net is just helpful when it comes to indicating whether or not a shot actually goes in or not. But number two, and I think kind of overlooked and underrated, is the idea that having the net on the basket is also very satisfying. It adds a level of satisfaction to the game, to making a basket. To me, one of the best feelings in the world, especially in specifically to basketball, is when you take a jumper and you can just feel it. You feel that it's perfect. You can feel that you're shooting it exactly the way you want to shoot it. And as soon as it leaves your hands, as it's coming off your fingertips, you can just feel that that shot is good, that it's going to go in. And then when it goes through the hoop, when it swishes through the net, you get that satisfying swish of the basket going through the net exactly the way you had anticipated that it would. Not only that, but think about layups, right? When you shoot a nice soft layup and it goes through the hoop and it comes down through the net, if there's no net there, if you shoot a nice soft layup, it'll go over or in the hoop and it'll just kind of drop to the ground. But if there's a net on there, when the ball falls through the hoop, the net kind of cradles and holds the ball for a second and slows down the speed and the gravity of the ball so that it kind of just hangs there for a second. We don't really think of that because it's just kind of part of the game, but realize how like kind of satisfying that is, right? That the ball is kind of cradled and held there for a second in the net and it doesn't just plop on the ground because there is no net there. there's a satisfaction there that happens over and over during a game that I don't think we kind of take into account, we overlook and underrate, and that's why having a net on a basketball hoop is more satisfying than you probably realize. So those are my thoughts of my choice of double rim or no net. I would encourage you guys to embrace the double rim. Seek it out, try to find it, practice, drill on it, work on your shot on a double rim if you can. Don't be afraid of them, don't complain about them, just make use of them. Use them to your advantage. Or at the very least, just don't have any thoughts. Just be a player, just ball out. Whatever it is, there's no kind of conditions or situations that should throw you off your game. No kind of double net, nothing. Nothing should throw you off your game. You should be able to adapt to any situation, including a double rim or a no net, if that's the case. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. I know that probably some of you have seen that meme yourselves being shared around the internet. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please share it with the people who you've seen share that meme. Let's get our thoughts out there. Let me know what you think of double rims or no net, and share this video so other people can have their input as to what they think of double rims or no net. Also, subscribe to the channel because that really helps me out, and hit that notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos, and I will see you guys next week.